my colleague also wants to add on to this.
Mr. Chair, with your indulgence, Madam Congresswoman, it's my understanding that you reported this content, this image, to Kamalek, and we have removed it.
Yeah.
I would like to also state respectfully for the record that we're not doing nothing on harmful generative AI. In fact, as recently as, it was either yesterday or the day before, I personally worked directly with PAOK to remove a harmful piece of generative AI that was promoting investment scams. And what happens when something like that gets reported, it's not just that piece of content that comes down. That informs our ability to enforce across the platforms and across other accounts. So although PAOK reported one specific URL, many, many others came down as a result of that report. So while I understand, with respect, how painful and frustrating it must be to be a victim of harmful generative AI, please don't think we're doing nothing. But we are not perfect yet, but we always strive to be better. We strive to be better by signal sharing and trend sharing with Filipino law enforcement, legislative, NGOs, civil society, etc. So thank you.
Yeah, and I would just emphasize what Rob said about, please, if you believe that there's a piece of content that violates our policies, please do report it through Kamalek, and we'll treat it with the utmost urgency. Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, last question. And in your presentation, you have also employed organization or fact-checker organization. Can you name those? Do you have an example? The Vera Files. You have. What is AFP?
Correct.
What is AFP?
That's a.
Mr. Chair, if I may. Agence France Presse.
Okay.
It's a global news organization.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Before we proceed, may I inform everyone that this will be a working lunch, so please feel free to have your lunch while the hearing is ongoing. Before we proceed with the next interpolator, may I acknowledge the presence of Deputy Speaker J.J. Suarez, Honorable Jefferson Conghon, Honorable Julien Baronda, and present online, Honorable Janet Garin, Honorable Isabel Maria Zamora, Honorable Ramon Rodrigo Gutierrez, Honorable Joe Sobiri, Honorable Drixie Cardema. Next interpolator will be Honorable Salvador Plato.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. To our dear colleagues and our esteemed guests. I just want to ask a question to Mr. Abrams. What Mita's stance on government requests for user data? For instance, for example, there is a law enforcement investigation against a blogger suspected of peddling malicious content on social media, and his data and posts are needed for the investigation. Will Mita provide those requested data? What is your policy or misinformation and disinformation? Thank you.
Mr. Chair, with permission, I'll do my best to address the concern. So our stance on data disclosure is governed by U.S. law because that's where data is stored. However, this being a rule of law country, we do voluntarily disclose data to Filipino law enforcement on a daily basis, which is in accordance with U.S. law, Filipino law, and our terms of service. I'd like to point out that in order for us to lawfully disclose data to your government, the offense also has to be a crime under U.S. law. That's not a decision me or any American tech company can make. That's federal U.S. law, several of them. So I'm aware of the subpoena that was issued by, I believe it may have been your good officer. It's under legal review right now. But law enforcement agencies here in this room submit data requests to us quite literally every day. I personally and many who work with me worked closely with your government to help pass IATA and the anti-OSAIC laws, which brought the Philippines into a more sort of modern posture, if you like, in terms of not needing a warrant for crimes against children and human trafficking, so we can provide basic subscriber information on those. I was very proud to work with the NBI as the first ever data request under that regime was issued to us. But our stance is governed largely by American law. So if you have follow-up questions, I'll do my best to address those, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Another question is, do you have a system of censorship on posts which are against moral values, especially those which can erode the minds of children? Do you have the power to delete those unlawful, malicious, libelous posts? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So it's hard for me to answer hypothetically, but I can speak pretty robustly about our child safety policies, and we work very closely with your government around those. So bullying and harassment, of course, CSAM and OSIAC and human trafficking, both illegal and against our terms of service. As Rafi mentioned at the top, we're doing a lot on digital literacy so that Filipinos can analyze for themselves or are better equipped to analyze what is harmful content and what is not. But without more specific information, I don't know that I can address those. I do, however, think, as I stated in the Senate last week, we are among industry leaders, if not the leaders, when it comes to our forward-leaning stance around child safety. And we collaborated very, very extensively with the BICAM, both in the formation of the IATA legislation and the anti-OSAC legislation, as well as the operationalization with the IRR procedures. And we, I believe, were the first to ever be issued a subpoena, and that was by NBI. We continue to get requests like those all the time, Paul.
Congressman, if I may add to that, just as a sample of the type of content that's not allowed on our platform would be hateful conduct, bullying and harassment, incitement to violence, the sharing of any type of child exploitative imagery, graphic violence, all of these types of content would be prohibited under our policies. And I would just also emphasize another point. In addition to all the work that the ROB and the law enforcement agencies of Philippines have done over the course of the many years now to protect Philippine children, we have also, as a company, recently developed special, what we call teen accounts, right? So first of all, no one under the age of 13 is allowed to use to use Facebook or Instagram. But if you're within the age group of 13 to 18, we've recently developed special teen accounts.
13 to 18?
13 to 18, right? Because below 13, you're not allowed on our services. And obviously when you're 18, now you're an adult, right? So we're talking about special teen accounts for youth in the range of 13 to 18 years old. Just as an example of some of the features of those accounts, you would have filters against sharing of nudity. You would have blockers on the ability of people who are much older than you to reach out and contact you. If you're in the range of 13 to 16, there are specific elements of parental supervision and indeed control that are built into those accounts so that parents can really supervise what their teens are doing online. There are provisions to remind teens to basically set alarms for how much time they're actually using the services so that they're not using them too frequently. And those are just a few of the features that we have developed recently with the specific objective of protecting children and making sure that youth on our platforms have a positive experience that really aligns with what parents want and that gives parents really strong tools to understand how their children are using our services and in many cases to supervise the use of our services. Thank you, sir.
Last question, Mr. Chair. I was asking, do you have the power to delete this unlawful, malicious, libelous post? Do you have the power to delete?
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Mr. Chair, I was asking if you have the power to delete unlawful, malicious, and libelous posts.
Mr. Chairman?
Please.
Sir. Sir, I think it's hard to talk about unless we see a specific piece of content, right? But if I can, I'll be happy to talk about our general approach to those types of issues.